What's up everybody, welcome back to another live trading video. Today I'm taking a look at CAD yen, this is CAD JPY, and I have a short trade that has gone against me, and I want to talk about this trade even though it's not a big fancy winner that people would show on YouTube proudly. I've done it in the past, I've had great videos in the past of winning trades, but today we're going to be talking about a losing trade and why I think it's important to actually journal and think about your losing trades just as much, if not more, than your winning trades. So stay tuned, we'll talk about this trade in just a moment. Let's go ahead and get into it. So welcome back everybody to my channel. If you don't already know me, my name is Nick. I talk all about trading and investing, and I try and keep it as real as possible because I know that there's a lot of hype, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors out there when it comes to trading and investing, and I try and set the record straight by trying to hopefully keep it as real as possible with you guys here on YouTube. So today we're going to be staying true to that and looking at a losing trade that I'm currently in, evaluating why I took the trade, whether it was a dumb mistake or if it was perfectly normal loss to take. So basically what we've got here is we've got CAD yen on the short side. I ended up taking a sell trade on a break of structure. So I want to talk before we get into this trade too far. I want to talk about why I was interested in being short before even looking for a technical setup. So I did like the downtrend overall here. What we can see is that we were in fact putting in some nice lower highs and lower lows, showing some strong downtrend continuation potential. And I really like that idea of getting short, joining into this move. And we're going to see how that turned out. Obviously, the trade is not over. The stop is right here. You can actually see the stop loss printed right there. And so if it hits that, then I'm out of the trade for a loss. It could still roll over, but I do want to talk about, again, why I took this trade, where I'm at with it, and what I plan to do. And we'll watch the trade to completion, whether it's a winner or a loser. It's looking like it's going to be a loser, but we'll see. So again, downtrend, nice and strong downtrend here, lower highs, lower lows, and looking for that key break to extend that trend to the next level. And that's what I was looking for. Right around here is where I started looking for an entry. So again, I drew my trend line here from the kind of walking across the high points here, or the swing highs of this downtrend, and looking for a break underneath this key level here. What you'll notice is that at this time, we were holding this level really strong. So my thesis here was that if price decides to break through this level, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and look to get short on that break, hoping that the momentum can continue. So I'm going to flip it really quick so we can I visualize this, I guess. So if we were here, right, and we have an uptrending market, lots of strength to the upside, and then we have this kind of resistance point, right? That's a key level where sellers are saying, hey, you're not getting past this point, we're holding this area, the bulls are stopped here, right? It's kind of the line in the sand, if you will. And so when this occasionally happens, what we see is we see some nice, strong breakouts every once in a while. And this is basically a big win for the bulls, or in our case in this trade, a big win for the bears, when price is able to break through that. And what you'll often see is that we'll usually get some sort of continuation, especially if that trend is overall pretty strong to the up or downside. So as this trade breaks out, we're looking for, or in this trade strategy, I'm looking to get involved with that trend on the break as much as possible, as close to the break as possible. So I'm looking a lot of times either to buy into the breakout or to buy the retest if price comes back to test that very same level that buyers were able to break through. So that's kind of the premise or the setup behind some of these trades. It's very, very simple, and usually what I'm looking for is a trend traveling with a lot of conviction, and for a key level of support or resistance to get broken to give me that high probability chance of a continuation of that trend to break out and continue. A lot of times what we see is we see that trend continue nicely, and that's where we can really cash out on some of these moves. So if we go back to our example here, flipping it back to the sell side version, you can actually see that this level of support was holding really well until right around here is where I entered into my short position looking for the break. And you can see that initially we were actually correct about this. Let me zoom in for a moment. We'll be able to see this a little bit better. So if we can just scroll in, you can actually see that there's where we were looking to get short. So this level of support here, I know it's a little hidden behind the camera, was holding pretty well until right around here where we got the nice close on this candle, and I looked to get short as much as, or as close to this area as possible. So I took that short. I liked the way this candle was closing. I liked, again, that overall conviction to the downside that we saw in the downtrend here. And then I got short on the trade, or short on the break. So as it breaks out, I took that short position, and you can see that for 1, 2, 3 bars further, price went right in my direction, which was really, really nice. This is a 1 hour chart, so we had a really pretty good move there on that hourly downtrend. Now, then what happened is, well, we actually formed a double bottom here. And so what you can see is price came down pretty well, and then we saw this level hold, right? And not only did we see it hold, we saw price come back again and test this area, and I was hoping for the trend to continue to break lower, and we did not get that. We actually held it again, and now you can see the potential here for a pretty standard reversal. And so now we see price run up to this resistance point that we had actually highlighted prior in our analysis. We rolled back over, we saw some short-term resistance, but then here's the thing that really kind of has shown me that there's a pretty good chance that this chart is going to stop me out, and that is this higher low right here. So this right here is, again, goes right against our initial thesis, which is, okay, we're looking for lower highs, lower lows, looking for the break, and to sell into that, right? In this case, we actually see the reversal. We see a double bottom here, but then we also see this higher low here, which is a pretty good indicator a lot of times of a trend starting to reverse, because you're seeing that weakness and that failure to keep going lower. Another way to look at this is that you could target this, or you could, depends who you ask, right? Technical analysts are all gonna have a little bit different of a viewpoint. This to me also kind of looks like a inverse head and shoulders. Right, there's our neckline, there's our left shoulder, there's our head, and there's our right shoulder. And so as we see that, that's another higher low opportunity that is basically telling us, okay, well, buyers are having enough strength to hold this from going lower, and sellers are weak in the sense that they can't get back underneath those lows. It's a very early warning sign, or early potential sign that price is ready to head back the other way. And I think that this level here, this resistance point, is my last line of defense, and is exactly why my stop is just above that area. So when I took the trade, my idea here was to basically take the trade in a way that, okay, my stop is going to be right above this key level of resistance in pink. We can actually scroll that one just a little bit further to match where we're at. We are currently testing that right now, and it's either going to be one of two things that happens here. Either we are going to hold this resistance point, and we'll see if bears can battle their way back down. But again, the odds are very heavy in favor of the bulls right now, in my view, especially if they, again, off of the back of that double bottom and that higher low. I think there's a very good chance that if we can break above this level, I'm probably just going to get stopped out, and who knows where the trend goes from there. It could keep going higher, but I just want to get out of the trade because, again, it goes against my initial thesis, and I'll take a loss there and move on to a new trade. So this is my analysis of a loss and why it happened. Now, the second part of this is this a stupid loss? Am I an idiot for taking this trade? Am I the worst trader that ever happened just because I took a losing trade? And the answer is no. And I hope that for you guys out there who are watching, who are trying to evaluate your losses and trying to be constructive with it, I hope that you kind of can come to that realization too. Okay, I had a good reason for taking this trade. My risk was managed for a reason, right? We want to have that reasoning behind, okay, here's what I'm going to do if this doesn't work out. And that's exactly why there's a stop on this trade here. And what you'll notice a lot of times is that you can have pretty good analysis, but your stop will still get hit sometimes. It's part of the game of being a trader. Your equity curve does not look like this if you're a great trader. A lot of times your equity curve, if you're a great trader, looks something like this, right? It doesn't go straight up, it goes up and down, and that's because losses are inevitable. They are part of the game, and they're important for anybody who is doing anything trading related, but even entrepreneurial related, to understand that losses are part of the process. So what I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm going to let this trade play out, and I will come back to you with the results. I'd be surprised if it wasn't a loss, but we'll hold on to the trade just because, again, I do like this resistance area, could hold, and again, I have my stop loss at a reasonable distance from my entry to give it room to breathe here on the trade. So we'll see what happens, and I'll be back with an update for you guys shortly. All right, everybody, so I am out of this trade. Just got stopped out completely there on our initial stop loss, so I did not get a chance to move this to break even. I took the full stop, and it is what it is. I took it like a man, I hope. So basically what ended up happening here is, again, we had the full-blown kind of reversal signals that I was looking for to basically say, hey, you know what, this trade is probably not going to work out. Let's just go ahead and stop out for a loss. We'll see if it continues to go in that direction. It's always the worst feeling when you get stopped out and it goes right back the other way, but sometimes that's unavoidable for traders, and I think that is also an important lesson that we could talk about. Sometimes that's just gonna happen. You get stopped out and price decides to go back the other way for whatever reason. But regardless, I hope you got something out of today's video. I hope you understood some of the reasoning behind the initial trade. Although I think it was a good idea, it did not work out super well in the end. Price bounced off of this low pretty well, formed that higher low. It actually bounced off this trend line as well, and we saw the continuation back the other way. So taking a loss and moving on from this one, taking a small controlled loss, and we will just see what else we can find to trade. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you got something out of it, and we'll see you back in the next one.